thank you, Nisha, for the introduction. Let me share my slides first. Okay, basically, I'm going to speak about more of the operation end of what we are doing in terms of our carbon emission or decarbonization initiatives in ports in Johor. If there are still people that still do not know what decarbonization means, it's basically means reduce greenhouse gas production, either in our case to transport, ships, or even port operations. And in another term, it also means reducing the carbon footprint. Internationally, I think we have heard from Patrick earlier on and the others about what is happening at the international level. Basically, you know, the initiative through UNFCCC's, the UN SDG initiatives, and also under IMO, the MAPOL Annex 6 rules that relates more directly to shipping and indirectly to ports. Okay, for Malaysia, I think this was shown earlier on by Captain Subra in terms of what our commitments are in respect of carbon emission. I think the last that we made in 2016 during COP21 in Paris, the intention is to reduce our greenhouse gas emission intensity of GDP by 45% by 2030, relative to the emission intensity of GDP in 2005. And where we are now, I think this chart that shows our position, I think this is 2017, 2018, where we contribute to 0.54% of global greenhouse gas emission. And more relating to what we are doing here in Johor and the Johor Port Authority, and we came up with this green port policy in sometime in 2014, intended to be a guide for decision making and to establish a framework for environmentally friendly port development and operation, and also, of course, to promote sustainable port operation and development in Malaysia as well. Okay. And as a matter of national level, I think Captain Subra has also highlighted it earlier on. Mainly under the SDGs, the thrust core of the strategic goals was included in the 11th Malaysia Plan, which is pursuing green growth for sustainability and resilience. Okay, the key initiatives as is shown here, of course, do more with less, sustainable industry practices, green procurement practices, and conservation culture, protect biodiversity, intensifying enforcement, undertaking reforestation, enrichment efforts in degraded areas, conserve and increase the population of endangered species, and lastly, build back better, strengthen disaster risk management, upgrade detection and early warning system. I think some of the speakers have already spoken on some of these aspects. Okay, more towards what we are doing, we actually started to monitor emissions from ships some time back. We developed an app that will allow us to at least give some indication of the emission of ships, mainly SOx, NOx, CO2, PM10, and PM2.5 in hydrocarbon from the two ports that under our jurisdiction, which is PTP and also Johor Port, and we can see the contribution of CO2 from ships in relation to the other gases or emissions. Okay, and as a result of the new IMO clean fuel rule, I think in 2020, I think we detected a slight reduction, okay, of all the emissions. And we also started to monitor non-shipping emissions, mainly from heavy vehicles, container cranes, okay, and also bulk equipment. And this is just to compare some of the information that we gathered through this monitoring exercise, which is still ongoing, by the way, both from the ship and also from a non-shipping emission. And we can see that the carbon emission contributes a huge chunk compared to the others. Okay, in terms of our initiatives on reducing the carbon footprint, as I said, from 2014 onwards, when we have the Green Port Policy Initiative, we develop the port development policy blueprint so that we have a better understanding of what need to happen development-wise and relate that to green. Okay, and of course we also start up together with PTP the VTMS, a new VTMS system which will allow us to gather a lot more data and information and also visibility from the vessels. As I said, we started the emission studies, okay, and we conducted hydrodynamics modeling, everything that we need to know about, the current water situation in PTP, Tanjung Pelepas. And in our own building, we have a new building which we moved in 2015, and we have invested in rainwater harvesting so that we can reduce water from the pipes, usage of water from the pipes. And we also conducted a ballast water baseline studies, okay, in line with the IMO Ballast Water Convention, okay, and so on and so forth. And we also conducted some renewable energy program. And in-house, we adopted green procurement policy. The whole idea is to conduct at least 30% of our procurement is based on this green. And then the other things that we did was to move, towards single window electronic clearance, and we developed e-gateway and pilot e-gateway in 2019, and it's still in a development stage currently, because this will allow us, when it's fully implemented, allow a fully electronic vessel clearance system. I think what David mentioned just earlier on. And some of the way forward initiatives that we are looking at in terms of sustainable energy program, we are also currently in discussion with respect to LNG fuel, use of LNG bunkers, solar energy, not only in the building, in our own building, but also in ports, warehouses, etc. And as well as onshore power supply, so that we can reduce, because we can see from the data quite a huge chunk of carbon emission from vessel. So if we revert to onshore power supply, so some form of emission may be reduced when they are at the berth. Okay, as the others have highlighted, we are also studying just-in-time ship arrival. Some of the things that probably not very related to the port, but adjacent to the port, is whether we can use open spaces within the areas near the port into eco park, turning them into eco park. Okay, and track and trace system, and also autonomous trucks that PTP actually is looking at. Probably Marco after this can highlight better. And just to put all those things together, and in going forward, I think the focus area will be continue to be monitoring, tracking, and reporting. Okay, using the tools that we have developed, monitor emissions. Okay, vessels, trucks, and also port equipment. And to look at equipment strategy to discuss with our port operators on how they can reduce emission from engines and boilers. through using better technology, okay, and better fuel quality, and looking at replacing old equipment or old engines with new and more efficient ones. And operational strategy, focus on ship and port operation efficiencies. I think this is very much in the arena of digitalization, okay, application of technologies, digitalization, automation, again, just in time. So this is just to put everything into one block of way forward towards better and more efficient port and operation. And obviously, we also have to look at energy strategy, focusing at energy sources used by ships or port equipment. Okay. As I said, one way is to look at LNG as an alternative, which we are currently in discussion with, of course, our national petroleum company, and to also implement more programs under our sustainable energy program, which is to get more people on board by switching to solar power energy, especially the warehouses within the port areas. And as I said, to hopefully get onshore power supply going at a commercial level at the port, because our own vessel already using onshore power supply. This is just as a test and a pilot. So it can be done, of course, for smaller vessels. I think everyone knows that. But it's to convert it, to upgrade it to the bigger commercial vessel is the challenge. And I've said it earlier, converting warehouses to solar power, okay, and looking at cleaner fuel alternative. Of course, the low sulfur fuel is already implemented, and then we are currently looking at LNG, as I said, in negotiation with our national oil companies. So in brief, that basically sums up what we have been doing and plan to do in Johor, and in addressing the carbon emission, and with a target of reducing 30% by 2030. Thank you.